I would like to call to order of the Davenport Housing Commission meeting on Monday, June 21st. It is 4:05. I would like to do a roll call. Sorry.
Joyce Miller, here.
Sorry, go ahead. Gary? I can't.
Here.
And I'm here, Yolanda Roberts. All right, so we will talk about the minutes of the May meeting. Does anybody have any objectives to it? Okay, does anybody have any objection to the minutes? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I make a motion, we accept the minutes for the May 17th
Oh,
meeting.
thank you.
Second.
Thank you, Joyce, for that. All right, I make a motion to approve the May meeting minutes. Now, let's discuss the financial reports for May.
I had sent an email to Destiny in regards to the public housing, the facilities maintenance, because it went up so much. And she said there was a $6,700 rehab included in there, so that's why it went up.
Amy, do you have anything to add for?
I do not.
Okay. Sorry, I didn't get to go over these.
I make a motion, we accept the financials for May.
Second.
I was not done looking at them, but okay. That's why I said I didn't get a chance to look at them, but, all right, motion accepted and approved. Financial reports for the month of May. Now we'll take a look at the occupancy reports for May. Okay. So the Heritage Building, those vacant units, is it because they're doing some rehabs on those, or people are,
It's my understanding that they stopped rehabbing due to the sale, so they were directed
Oh.
that once people move out, they're not rehabbing them. So that's why they're vacant.
Okay. All right. I make a motion to approve the occupancy reports for the month of May.
Second.
Okay. Motion approved for the occupancy report for the month of May. Do we have anything to discuss? Other than Bruce? No? Okay, well, we'll just wait.
We were guessed.
I was 2 blocks away for an hour ago at St. Anthony for a funeral when I went home. I'm very sorry.
It's okay.
Kind of short and
sweet.
She's gonna see if she can go get Bruce down here now, because
Oh.
to be here.
Yeah.
So sorry.
Yeah.
I got on my phone dinged and it was you. No.
So did you say you got stuck in a?
Oh, that's my own. No, I was, as I said, I should have just stayed downtown. I went home to change clothes. I hadn't worn a suit and tie in a long time.
Oh.
I mean, I used to back in the day. It was, used to work, but, no, a friend of mine passed away and I was a pallbearer for her earlier today. So did you guys get a chance to meet Amy?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, probably got a lot of time to chat.
Well, I got here right at 4, we made a stop for a 5. I didn't know they had measured before.
Oh, was there something?
And Amy said that she had known you from before, so.
Yes, the old days. Well, yeah. Yeah, and I just saw her one day last week too.
That's right.
It doesn't guarantee anything, but hopefully.
Okay, should we go ahead and belatedly start?
We're done.
We're done.
You did,
Yeah.
you had it. I'm sorry.
We weren't sure if you were gonna, what was going
Well,
on.
I told Yolanda, I said, go ahead and run
She did.
the thing. Okay.
Yeah, we rock and rolled it.
Only the basic thing. Basically, the thing we need to talk about is when our next meeting's gonna be.
Next month.
3rd of,
I looked in the calendar, it was July 19th.
yes, I'm sorry. I know these don't take as long as they used to when,
I know, they used to
in
sing
the
out
days
for
when
hours.
Amy used to be there and we
Audrey.
were in blood, sweat, and.
Yes.
There he
yeah,
is.
Blood,
I miss
sweat,
her
and
every month.
tears over our meetings in those days and. it
We still,
was-
we still have we still have the saying, what would Audrey say?
Oh, yeah, that's, I was gonna tell. Yes. She was our past chairperson who was quite a colorful lady. big personality. And we'd have hearings for tenants. We used to be the, and Audrey'd say, "What the hell's the matter with you, kid?" You know, and
Lock and load.
she was kind of a mother figure for, you know, she wasn't afraid to ask somebody who was,
Street version.
yes. She wasn't afraid to ask, "What the hell is the matter? What's your story, kid?"
Yes, what's your story?
Shoot, we're on time limit.
And she's like stood this tall.
Oh, yes, better.
She kind of reminded me of Judge Judy.
Oh, Lord.
But Judge Judy was nicer.
Oh, yeah.
Judge, you have to make more money.
But she was a great lady. We miss her. Hey, Bruce.
Hello. It's great to see everybody's faces.
So what's, I guess I'll ask, how's things progressing with the sale of the properties?
Sure. And I can give you, by the way, I apologize, I'm coming in late here too, so if you already covered anything, just stop me. So I'm Bruce Berger with Community and Economic Development, so I think everybody knows me, but
You're the director.
now that we're taping this, I guess, for posterity's sake, so, but yeah, I can give you I guess a status report on, both assets, and I think, you know, as you're aware, we're selling both the Heritage and looking at selling public housing. We're further along on the Heritage, and so I guess as a status report, kind of on where we're at, we were just informed, what was it, last week? It looks like the tentative closing date for the Heritage will be mid-July. So we are using that as our expected transaction, and so there's a lot of things to do before
Yeah,
then.
the city's already asking people how to spend the money.
Well, yeah, so,
Yeah.
and I have an update on that too, so we'll circle back on that. But
But they
the
did give credit to the sale of the
Heritage, right? Yeah. So, bear with us, we're gonna be relocating staff offices, likely toward the end of the week right before that, so that we're not scrambling around the day before. So we're looking through the logistics of letters going out for tenants and coordinating with the property management firm for that. So Selden Management is the property manager that the New Buyer Foundation Housing uses in the Midwestern markets for the most part. And so they've had a great track record with Selden. So we were able to have a fairly detailed call with them here a couple of weeks ago, leading up to, kind of pinpointing a close date. So that's moving on public housing on scattered site. We're not quite as far along. We expect to have offers in from the nonprofits in about another month. So sometime in July, I think at their board meeting or meetings, we expect to have that in. We still do have one tenant who's interested in acquiring a property, which is great. And then we'll be waiting on HUD's response, which hopefully should be coming along too, maybe in that same time period. So I may have more updates for you in the month of July. Do you do a July meeting or no? You do. So I may have an update for you in July on that. And I think I've bored you with it before, but there's steps in that process, and we'll see what HUD requires. If they need more info or if they approve us, they will need to be issuing vouchers to those 42 tenants. And so we don't know exactly the time period and how that all works. And then we also have to bring forward the purchase agreements offers from from all the buyers, the 3 nonprofits and the tenant, would need to be reviewed by, and approved by council under Iowa law. So that would need to happen, and that takes a little bit of time. So I'm guessing the sale date on those would likely be the fall at the earliest, so that's, and then your question, Chair, on the heritage proceeds question has actually, at least from what staff has learned from council, they prefer to just sort of hit the pause button, because as probably some of you are aware, with the American Rescue Funds that Congress has provided, a lot of cities have a lot of dollars and that need to be spent within a certain period of time. Yeah, I know. I know. We're almost, we are, you go through a tough, definitely, worldwide pandemic. You don't want to say this, but yeah, it's never been like that where you actually have enough money to be able to address some things. So that's a blessing. But it is roughly 40 million is what the city is expecting and then we would need to spend that over a 3-year period that ends at the December of 2024. So as you might imagine, we're still learning a little bit about what you can do with that. Council's had a couple of work sessions on it. We did a community survey, and some of the uses that the city council task force was looking at for using the heritage proceeds line up a little bit with how you may be able to use some of the American Rescue dollars. And since the American Rescue dollars have a time limit on them for when you can spend them, and the heritage dollars do not, and we're going to be scrambling to get those dollars spent, the council, I think, has essentially given direction to staff that let's just hit the timeout button on heritage. There's nothing that says they have to allocate those funds. So I believe and then we can revisit it in, a couple of years or so when we're further down the American Rescue front, and maybe the landscape will look differently too, in terms of how we as a community might want to spend those.
One of the goals of the council, which I hope it's council driven and not just you bureaucrats, nothing against you bureaucrats, but
That's none taken.
The elected people are the ones who should be running at things.
Yep.
But anyway, has to do with housing, and it listed maybe some loans or some other things. I don't know what has been talked about, by the I haven't been in, I'll admit, I haven't talked to my council person or to the mayor or to any of the others about what kind of ideas they might be talking about, but to help out, because housing is obviously a major concern in our community. And, so you probably obviously know more.
Well, sure. And I can just give you no decisions have been made, but they did go through a sort of a ranking process of sort of the priority areas that city council would like to see those American Rescue dollars spent on. And so it includes, and I'm giving you just a broad brush, but there's a little bit of crime prevention. The Juvenile Assessment Center is in there. There's a couple of flood control related projects. I'm trying to recall now, so I apologize off memory. But housing components are in there.
I filled out my surveys. So.
There's a transitional housing piece. There's a neighborhood stabilization piece. There's some dollars for literacy. What am I forgetting? There's some sewer. That's one of the things that the American Rescue Program allows. in terms of infrastructure. And so, because there was a lot of interest from people, I think, in wanting to spend it on roads, but you can't. But you can spend it on some sewers. So there's a bevy of things that are included in that, at least running prioritizing that council is currently doing. I think they're going to have more discussion on it coming in July, and then the plan would be formalized. I think the game plan is sometime in August. So you can watch for more opportunities for discussion on that. But as we said, you're exactly right. There's some housing dollars included in that. And I think where council's at is thinking, let's see how that basket of funds works in terms of housing before we make any decisions on the heritage proceeds, because that money you can sort of bank and spend when you're ready to, and it doesn't have as many strings or things guiding it as the American Rescue does. So.
I remember I spoke to the council at one time when the sales were up, and I said I want to see some work done, my opinion, for affordable housing. You know, where Davenport's doing a lot, and it's great to have all these new apartments, but our people can't afford $900 a month or whatever a lot of these apartments are going for.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You know, the group that we're tasked to help.
And we are still, but not to bring it back to public housing and the public housing sale and the heritage, but the good news too, remember with both those assets, the heritage is going to remain with the tenant base that it has. So, I mean, we're not losing anything there. It's just really a changing of the guard of the property owner. And then the positive news, if public housing still goes the way it looks like it is, and it's shaping up that way, if HUD would approve it, we'll get all of the units will be sold at below market values, so they will have an affordability requirement for those. Plus, we get 42 vouchers, so it's kind of like we're continuing with the assistance to those in the extremely low income range, and we've got more units that are affordable that we didn't have before, and depending on how you want to view it, or vice versa, the vouchers versus the units. But it's, I think it's, if we're going to be, if we're going to try to at least advance that silos to solutions game plan that the Housing Council and Housing Cluster started here a couple of years ago, it's at least moving us down that path a bit. So anyway, I'll stop talking. That's the quick status report that I have.
Where's the staff?
Moving to.
So the majority of staff are moving to City Hall. So we're going to be operating out of City Hall from what would we say, maybe July 9th, roughly on, something like that date. We have to see if that date works, but and we'll continue operating public housing then for a short period, presumably if we get approved and can ultimately sell those units. And then staff here at City Hall would operate Section 8 Housing Choice Vouchers, VASH, and FYI. Anything else I'm forgetting, I guess, in there. One of our staff members, so with the sale of each of these, and I know I've briefed you on it before, with the sale of the first asset, we lose revenue. And so we are losing one staff person, and that person has the ability to, we can retain them, with call it bumping, but we have the ability for them to retain them in a previous job they had for the city, which turns out to be the police department. So I believe that staff member will be moving to the police department, so we'll have most
That's
everybody
nice.
move over. So yeah.
There's enough room for everyone.
Yeah, we have plenty of room. What we're in the midst of, Amy's, I'm already apologizing to him. We're in the midst of a remodel. So City Hall's been a long time. If you had been up to City Hall in the last few years, it looked still a lot like the 1970s, right? So it's fresh coat of paint. We've kind of updated the colors, and we're getting some new furniture, but it won't be in until sometime in August. So I was telling these guys that the assisted housing office has never been located at City Hall, because when Heritage and Public Housing were built, they were down there. we're moving you into City Hall, and the big welcoming is you're gonna kind of sit in a small little area with 1970s furniture that's probably got construction going on all around, you know, whatever, but hopefully within a month or so, we'll be able to move into the remodeled kind of space. But space is, we've got a lot of space up there. It's just, you know, sometimes it's not always, it's just big, wide open areas, you know,
Yeah.
so you kind of got to organize it the way you need it, so.
But there are jobs for other people when they're moving over here. There'll be jobs in other departments or anything else for them?
Well, so all this first move, everyone, like I said, there's 6 of us down there. We have 5 that are going to continue doing their jobs. They're just going to do it out of City Hall. And 1 that's moving to another department. When public housing is sold, we lose further revenue. So that second sale, when that happens, if approved, we would have 2 staff more reduced. So we end our, and those folks, 1 will be absorbed into other city functions because we were sort of on loan with that staff member. But the other staff member that we're losing in that transaction, that we don't have a job for. So we have been, that person's well aware of it. We've been looking around. So yeah, I mean, you hate to see that kind of impact. That's the downside with all of this. We knew it was coming. And there are some city jobs sometimes that open up. So we'll see if that person's
How
able
many
to
years do you have in, Bruce? Maybe,
move in.
will you get bumped?
Yeah, I probably won't. I'm like the old guy now with the department, so, yeah. I was telling staff I shouldn't even say, I know this is on recording, so this is horrible, but I was, when I started and the city had its first, in City Hall, we had our first PC. So that's how old I am, right? So everybody was on a mainframe type system, and we got whatever it was, a Windows based, or I can't remember back then what it was, but it was an actual standalone PC, and no one knew how to use it. And so what do? You look at the intern, the new guy, and I was the technology person, and I just was laughing at this last week. Now I'm trying to figure out how do I set up that Outlook thing? Is that how does this Zoom meeting work?
You have kids at home, so
Yeah.
you can ask them.
That's what comes around goes around. So I am now the old guy, but oh well. It's been fun. Any
Okay.
other questions? No?
Everybody else, well, so whatever the 3rd Monday in July is.
19th.
Okay. And I'll do my best to be on time. Yes, Audrey's visions of me the whole time. Boy, I was late. Oh, I'm sure. So, okay. Well, everyone, thanks. And
Yeah, we're good.
oh, do we have to make this? Okay, well, until
Legal.
our next meeting, until we meet again, as that old song went, I'll ask for a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. I thought Yolanda was in charge.